the first breath of existence, silent, vast, and shrouded in mystery. Imagine a cosmos wrapped in darkness and void, with waters flowing endlessly beneath a sky yet to be named. In these opening words of Genesis, ancient listeners would have felt the tension between chaos and the promise of order. This was not just a story about beginnings. It was a profound declaration that the universe was shaped by intention, by divine speech, a voice that calls forth reality itself. "Let there be light," it says, and suddenly illumination fractures the primordial gloom, splitting day from night. The rhythm is deliberate, unfolding in measured phases, 6 days, each marked by divine command and fulfillment. This sequence, familiar to us yet often overlooked, carried deep meaning for the ancient Israelites. They heard not just a timeline, but a sacred choreography, forming and filling, separation and habitation, a cosmic dance aligning the heavens, earth and life in harmonious order. Unlike neighboring creation myths that begin with divine conflict or cosmic battles, here calm authority governs. There is no storm god warring with sea monsters. Instead, a sovereign voice shapes and tames, bringing life from formlessness. Archaeological discoveries in Mesopotamia reveal similar themes: waters, void, and darkness. Yet the biblical narrative offers a striking counterpoint, emphasizing peace and intentionality over chaos and violence. The opening verses invite us to contemplate a universe crafted with care and purpose. The ancient Israelites heard in these words a reassurance that beneath the chaos of life, a steady hand guides the cosmos. On the second day, a vast expanse appears, the firmament, a sky that divides waters above from waters below. The imagery evokes ancient Near Eastern cosmology, where the sky is a solid dome holding back chaotic waters. But here, it is a deliberate separation, a divine ordering of space that invites habitation and life. As the third day unfolds, land emerges from the seas, and with it, the earth brings forth vegetation. Trees, plants, and seeds spring to life, each bearing its own kind. The pattern is unmistakable. First, the realm is formed, then it is filled. Day 2 shapes the sky. Day 5 will fill it with birds. Day 3 forms the land. Day 6 fills it with animals and humans. This forming and filling pattern weaves through the text, a literary structure that ancient readers would recognize as purposeful and beautiful. It underscores an intimate connection between shape and function, design and purpose. Every element of creation finds its place in a growing, ordered world. Archaeologists have uncovered ancient texts such as the Enuma Elish that tell of creation through battle and chaos, with gods fighting to establish order. In contrast, Genesis offers a steady, peaceful unfolding where God's word alone brings the cosmos into being, a reflection of divine sovereignty and wisdom. This imagery invites reflection on the earth as a sanctuary, a realm crafted for life, abundant and good. For the ancient Israelites, the emergence of land and vegetation was not mere happenstance, but a manifestation of divine generosity. The heartbeat of the creation story is divine speech. "And God said," reverberates through the narrative, each utterance bringing new life and order. This emphasis on speech reveals an ancient worldview where words carry creative force. The spoken word is not merely descriptive, but generative. For the original audience, this would have been a profound truth. Ancient Near Eastern cultures often depicted gods who wielded power through speech, but biblical theology elevates this to a singular divine voice, one whose commands are absolute and uncontested. The structure repeats: God sees, God says, God separates, God calls, emphasizing an active, ongoing process of creation that is both orderly and purposeful. This reinforces the theme of God as sovereign creator, distinct from the chaotic, capricious gods of neighboring cultures. The biblical account presents God's creation as good, even very good, after each stage. This goodness motif is central. It implies not only moral perfection, but also the harmony and balance inherent in creation. There is no inherent evil in the created order. Instead, there is beauty, function, and blessing. This goodness is not a vague sentiment, but a deliberate affirmation of the world's inherent value and function. It challenges any notion that the material world is flawed or accidental. In the ancient world, creation stories often began with divine conflict. Mesopotamian myths describe gods battling primordial monsters. Egyptian tales recount struggles with dark forces. These narratives reflect a worldview where cosmic order emerges through violent struggle. Genesis stands apart. The ancient Israelites present creation as a calm, sovereign act. There is no rival deity, no chaos monster to defeat. Instead, God's voice alone calls forth light, sky, land, and life, a supreme authority that transcends conflict. This contrast is striking, especially considering the cultural milieu in which Genesis was written. Archaeological and textual evidence from the ancient Near East shows the pervasive presence of myths involving divine warfare and chaos. The biblical narrative deliberately eschews these motifs, emphasizing peace and order as divine hallmarks. This perspective would have resonated deeply with its audience, offering a vision of a world grounded in divine purpose rather than chance or conflict. It presents a cosmos where every element has meaning and place, a universe woven with intention and care. Such a worldview would have been both comforting and challenging, inviting listeners to trust in a cosmos ruled by order and goodness rather than fear and disorder. The six-day structure itself is a literary and theological masterpiece. Each day builds upon the last, following a clear pattern of forming environments followed by filling them with appropriate inhabitants. Day 1 introduces light and darkness. Day 4 populates the sky with sun, moon, and stars. Day 2 forms the sky. Day 5 fills it with birds and sea creatures. Day 3 brings forth land and plants. Day 6 brings animals and humans. This pattern is not accidental. It reveals a sophisticated understanding of cosmic order and purpose. The ancient Israelites would have heard in this a profound message about the world's design, a world carefully shaped to sustain life and crowned with humanity, created in the image of God. Moreover, the rhythm reflects ancient worship and rest cycles. The seventh day, when God ceases creative activity, institutes a sacred pattern of work and rest that deeply shaped Israelite identity and practice. This structure conveys more than a timeline. It expresses meaning, beauty, and sacred rhythm, elements often missed by modern readers focused solely on scientific questions. As the sixth day reaches its climax, humanity enters the stage, not as an afterthought, but as the crowning purpose of creation. Let us make man in our image, the text declares, a mysterious plural that has invited centuries of reflection. To ancient ears, this was a declaration of special status. Humans were uniquely designed to reflect divine qualities. This image of God does not merely confer authority, it implies responsibility. Humans are called to rule over the earth and its creatures, not as tyrants, but as caretakers entrusted with stewardship. This role is deeply connected to the order and goodness established in the previous days, a continuation of divine purpose. Ancient Near Eastern kings often claimed divine authority to rule. The biblical narrative reinterprets this, grounding human authority in divine image-bearing and moral responsibility. Archaeological finds show early civilizations wrestling with their place in a world both fragile and vast. Genesis offers a vision where humans are partners in sustaining creation's harmony. This chapter of creation speaks to enduring questions of identity and vocation. For ancient readers, it provided a foundation for understanding humanity's dignity and purpose amid the complexities of life. The seventh day, rest and holiness following the 6 days of creative work. The narrative pauses on the seventh day. God rested, the text says, not from weariness, but as an act of completion and sanctification. This day is set apart. It is holy. For ancient Israelites, this seventh day was not just historical recall, but a model for life. The Sabbath became a rhythm of rest woven into community and worship. It affirmed that creation itself invites balance, activity followed by rest, labor followed by peace. This sacred pause underscored God's sovereignty and care. If the Creator ceases work, it signals that the world is complete, ordered, and entrusted to human care within a framework of divine provision. The Sabbath thus connects deeply with the 6 days of creation. It frames them not only as a sequence of events, but as a rhythm for human living, a call to trust, reflect, and honor the goodness of all that has been made. Archaeological evidence from ancient Israelite communities shows the centrality of Sabbath observance in law, culture, and identity. The seventh day becomes a living reminder of the relationship between God, creation, and humanity. The 6 days of creation invite us to see the world anew. They speak of a universe born from intention and order, a cosmos where every element has its place and purpose. Ancient readers would have found comfort in this vision. A world where chaos is held at bay by divine word and where goodness permeates all. As we reflect on these ancient words, we are reminded of the profound artistry in their construction, a blend of narrative, theology, and cultural dialogue that still resonates today. If you find this journey into biblical creation and ancient thought compelling, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement helps us continue exploring the fascinating intersection of faith and history. May this reflection inspire you to look beyond the surface of these ancient texts, to hear them as their original audience did, and to appreciate the timeless message of order, purpose, and hope. Thank you for watching Faith and Facts.